It is also my great honour at this 57th IFLA World Congress to announce the 2021 Sir Geoffrey Jellicoe Award. Geoffrey Jellicoe was a founding member of the International Federation of Landscape Architects. He was IFLA's first president and then president of honour. In his introduction to IFLA's yearbook in 1981, Jellicoe summarised with great wisdom the enduring strength and mission of IFLA. Since its foundation in 1948, he said, the International Federation of Landscape Architects has spread its influence throughout the greater part of the world. There is a common unity among members that transcends language, colour, race and creed. It is this underlying unity with its profound sense of creative purpose that may perhaps prove to be the most formidable of all forces directed towards universal understanding of our profession. Jellicoe's first book, authored with John Shepherd, was titled Italian Gardens of the Renaissance and is credited with reawakening interest in this great period of landscape design. His career spans 70 years in a profession he called the mother of all arts. In his work, he combined an appreciation of classical design with modern in a unique way, having a feeling for the totality of a place and three-dimensional sense of volume. He understood landscape as being more than a picture and described the importance of the effect of time on a place. The IFLA Sir Geoffrey Jellicoe Award is the highest honour that the International Federation of Landscape Architects can give to a landscape architect. The award recognises a living landscape architect who has had a lasting impact on the welfare of society and on the environment, and on the promotion of the profession of landscape architecture globally. The award is given annually to an academic, public or private practitioner whose work and achievements are respected internationally. Before announcing the award, I'd like to thank those who have contributed towards this year's awards program. The bespoke medals were designed by Hoon Kim and his team at Why Not Smile, and the manufacture of the medals and their cases were sponsored by Jenny Tang of Ecoland Planning and Design. The nominations process for the Sir Geoffrey Jellicoe Award was very capably managed by Gareth Doherty, who has ensured the integrity of the nominations process and ensured it has met the criteria for inclusiveness and global representation outlined in the award rules. The chair of the jury is Diana Wiesner, and my thanks go to her and the jury comprising members from each of IFLA's regions, and a further guest member. And finally, I'd like to thank Monica Pilares, the chair of IFLA's Communications Committee, who has helped guide the awards process with Gareth and Diana. Jala Makhzoumi is a recipient of the 2021 IFLA Sir Geoffrey Jellicoe Award. Jala's contribution as an academic, practitioner and advocate of the landscape architecture profession globally is significant. It is a great pleasure that I make this award on behalf of the International Federation of Landscape Architects.
Greetings everyone in different parts of the world. My name is Gareth Doherty and I'm the Director of the Secretariat for the IFLA Sir Geoffrey Jellicoe Award in Landscape Architecture. Now, the Jellicoe Award is a global award. It's the highest award that IFLA can give to a landscape architect, a practitioner, or an academic. And it's amazing how many people around the world have been inspired and touched by the work of Jala Makhzoumi. We're thrilled that Jala is winner of the 2021 Jellicoe Award. One of the aspects of Jala's work that is so special is not just that she is such a pioneering figure in the establishment of the profession of landscape architecture in the Middle East, but that she asks what landscape means in a Middle Eastern context. So rather than imposing an external idea of what landscape is or might be, Jala works within the understandings of the people that she is working with. I wanted to thank my colleagues Peter and Reem on the Secretariat, Diana and the jury, as well as the IFLA administration for your support in the award process. But more than that, I want to thank Jala yourself for being such an inspiration to so many people, myself included. I wish you well with the award, and I look forward to seeing your new work. And I am sure You will continue to inspire generations of landscape architects to come. Mabruk.
Hello, this is Reem El Isa from the Middle East region. 1,000 congratulations to you, Jala, for achieving the Sir Geoffrey Jellicoe Award for the year 2021. The rich and diverse work you have accomplished throughout your career is no easy feat and is without a doubt one that is deserving of this prestigious award and international recognition. In the last few decades, you have traversed variegated landscape architectural terrain, whether academically or professionally, whether in the Middle East, the Mediterranean, and beyond. But the most important is the simple fact that you have been instrumental in laying the foundation for landscape architecture as an academic discipline and as a professional and cultural practice in the Middle East. Elf Mabruk.
Hello, my name is Peter Zöch and I'm from Austria, and I'm a member of the Secretariat for the Sir Geoffrey Jellicoe Award. Dear Jala Makhzoumi, my sincerest congratulations to receiving this great honor. I'm really happy that the jury decided to give this outstanding award to you, not just to highlight your great body of work, but also to focus on regions in the world which are normally not in the center of our attention. My congratulations again and best wishes from Innsbruck.
It is a pleasure for me, here from Colombia, to recognize profoundly as jury's chair composed of a landscape architect from each of the 5 IFLA regions and a guest, that Jala Makhzoumi is one of the most significant landscape professionals for her advancing ecological, social, cultural approaches to landscape design as teacher, researcher, lecturer, and designer.
Congratulations, Jala.
An important highlight of your work and trajectory is breaking boundaries within the Arab world, in promoting the importance of the profession, and also your humble generosity in sharing your knowledge, which have reached members of all nations within IFLA. Your outstanding work in 3 regions, through difficult times, contexts, and periods of conflict, finding the resilience to learn, work, teach, and inspire the next generation through your passion in landscape architecture. This ratifies the remarkable qualities that you have as a Lebanese landscape architect in a professional journey. For many countries, and specific in our Colombian context, it has been inspiring your promotion of a holistic approach in advancing landscape architecture as a tool for recovery for post-conflict regions and development.
Jala.
You represent the best values of IFLA's work community. Your contribution to landscape architecture is in an international concept in practical respect is outstanding, a unique trajectory and contribution to human welfare and the environment and the promotion of the landscape architecture. It has been an honor for me to chair the deliberation process and final decisions with the jury's members from each of the 5 IFLA regions. Fritz Owed from Europe, Claudia Onate from the Americas, Behdad Alizadeh from Middle East, Yoshiki Mishima from Asia Pacific, Saint Pôl from Africa, and Rahel Shawl, a guest member who has been involved in international landscape design and planet projects. Here they are their messages for you.
Hello, Jala. My name is Fritz Auweg. I'm representing the European region, and it is a great pleasure for me to congratulate you for getting the Geoffrey Jellicoe Award 2021. You are a prominent figure in landscape architecture in the Middle East, and this is a very difficult region. where you are the important voice for landscape architecture. I was happy to work with you together in the process of getting a new definition of our profession. And you were the important voice for a more holistic and ecological understanding of our profession, and to integrate planning in a wider scale beneath design as important professional task. I congratulate you again getting the Geoffrey Jellicoe Award this year.
Hello, dear IFLA friends and colleagues. My name is Claudia Onate from Chile. It is an honor for me to be part of the jury of the Sir Geoffrey Jellicoe Award this year, representing IFLA Americas. This very prestigious landscape award goes to Professor Emerita Jala Makhzoumi, whose lifetime achievements have had an impact in society, environment, and in the promotion of our profession. Jala stands out for her ecological, social, and cultural approaches to landscape architecture as teacher, researcher, lecturer, and designer. An important highlight of her trajectory is breaking boundaries in promoting our profession within the Middle East and the Arab world, in the academia, and also in a diversity of projects. We know Jala for her very inspiring lectures as key speaker given in many different countries, and humble generosity in sharing her knowledge and work. She represents the best values of IFLA's world community. Congratulations, dear Jala, with all our heart.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I am Behdad Alizadeh from the Department of Horticultural Science and Landscape Architecture at Ferdous University of Mashhad, Iran. I'm also the president of Iranian Scientific Association for Landscape. It was my pleasure to have a chance to join the jury member to represent the IFLA, Middle East, and ISLAB. Today, I'm very happy because for the first time, a woman from Middle East gets the Sir Geoffrey Jellicoe Award. So, congratulations, Jala. You are inspiring for all young landscape architecture who are going to change the future. When you publish your book, Ecological Landscape Design and Planning for the most of landscape architecture, especially in Middle East, talking about ecology and ecological design was just a fashion. But today, everyone believes that not only it is not a fashion, but also it is necessary for today and our future life. Once again, congratulations and wish you all the best.
Hello, IFLA friends and colleagues. My name is Yoshiki Mishima from Tokyo, Japan. It is a great honor for me to be a part of a jury member of Sir Geoffrey Jellicoe Award 2021, representing IFLA Asia region. This year, the award goes to Professor Jala Makhzoumi, who has been working on amazing lifetime-long projects in the field of ecology and environmental planning in the Middle East. It seems to me that Jala has been a significant role model for many professions in the field of landscape architecture, and importantly, she clearly changed the profession of landscape architect in innovative and persuasive way. Today, we definitely need to extend and redefine our profession in order to envision and realize sustainable society and environment. And we can find one strong example in Jala's achievement. Jala, congratulations again, and I send my best wishes. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Mark Saint Pôl from Square One Landscape Architects, representing IFLA Africa for the Sir Geoffrey Jellicoe Award. Congratulations, Professor Jala Makhzoumi, on being awarded the 2021 Sir Geoffrey Jellicoe Award. Your inspired and tireless commitment to advancing our profession in your region and internationally is truly remarkable and an example to all of us. We commend your demonstration through practice, research, and teaching on how landscape architecture can address human and environmental well-being throughout the local, city, and regional scales. Your pioneering success in the Middle East and Mediterranean within some of the world's toughest landscapes, provides us with valuable lessons and motivation for how we can tackle some of the human welfare and environmental challenges facing our own regions. We wish you ongoing and fulfilling success as you continue to make a difference to our world through your work and through the people that you inspire.
My name is Rahel Shawl, and I'm an architect based in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia. It was a real honor to serve as guest jury for the 2021 International Federation of Landscape Architects Jellicoe Award. I want to congratulate you, Jala, for being the recipient of this prestigious award. I believe that your outstanding lifetime work in landscape architecture, spanning 3 regions through difficult times, contexts, and periods of conflict, is truly an amazing achievement. I'm inspired by your resilience in your work, research, and most of all, your dedication to share your work for the next generation. We have so much to learn from your life, your works, and successes, and I do want to wish you best of luck in all your future endeavors. Thank you.
Well, hello and welcome to my garden here in Birmingham. I'm delighted to have been asked by the International Federation of Landscape Architects to present this year's Sir Geoffrey Jellicoe Award for Outstanding Contribution in Landscape Architecture. Jala, I'm absolutely delighted to be able to present to you the Sir Geoffrey Jellicoe Award 2021 for your outstanding contributions to the profession of landscape architecture. It's very well deserved. I'm so pleased to be able to do this. It's an honour and a delight.
Thank you, Jane. I'm so happy, delighted. Thank you, and honoured.
My pleasure.
I was always intrigued by landscape, and I've just been writing a chapter about that. And at first, I first came across the word in architecture studies, and it was open space, outdoor. You had to organize, design, and make beautiful. And it took years and years of research and practice and exposure to learn that landscape was much more than that. But once I could understand that landscape was a very complex kind of concept and word. I was intrigued by why outdoor spaces in my hometown, Baghdad, in Iraq, was so poorly landscaped. It was 50 degrees centigrade, and we had to cross huge expanses to go to a building. I mean, it was just, there was no vocabulary for landscape. Modern architecture was amazing in Iraq. I mean, there's the regional movement, which is incredible. But landscape, there was no landscape. They simply brought whatever they did in gardens, lawn and rose beds, which of course didn't work in large spaces. So that set me off, really. That was the beginning of being intrigued by this concept of landscape.
And you've been very influential in the Arab regions and in the Mediterranean.
Yes, yeah. I mean, I've been lucky to be displaced so many times, and in that sense, you know, there is a bright side to everything almost. So, the bright side was that I got exposed to different cultures, different landscapes, and had the opportunity to expand my understanding of landscape in practice and in education. So at the same time, it was an excuse to infect people with this love of landscape and passion for landscape. And it is really infectious. Once people realize the potential of a landscape framing, they're hooked. It's very difficult for them to take any other path, I think.
Yeah, landscape is a way of life. It's a vocation, isn't it? It's not a profession.
No. It is so undermined. I mean, in my part of the world especially, because it's undermined in a very narrow understanding public understanding of landscape as beautiful scenery, and it's so much more than that. And so it's our role as practitioners and as academics to show that there's a much bigger potential to landscape.
And what do you think the role that landscape can play in healing some of the issues in the Middle East, particularly, as you say, Baghdad, Beirut?
Yes,
where there's been conflict.
I think once you accept an expansive definition of landscape, then the potential for addressing ruptures, political, cultural, social, to address issues of marginalization, of displacement is immense, really. And I've had that in practice with post-war recovery. People laughed when I first said I'm applying the landscape approach. They said, "You're going to plant gardens?" And they couldn't understand that it was simply a holistic and expansive way of looking at that affected landscape and communities, and how you can heal, to look beyond buildings. This is why I don't like the word reconstruction. It's recovery, it's not reconstruction. It's much deeper than that and much more embracive of people.
Well, I would like to ask you a bit about the books you've been writing and what's maybe prompted you into putting pen to paper. So, if that...
I think that perhaps because I was born and I continue to work, practice and teach in the Middle East, where landscape architecture is so little known as a profession, I find that you really cannot but combine those three: practice, teaching and publishing. Because if you don't write about what you've done, how will people know? How will you carry out this mission of expanding this understanding of landscape architecture and its potential? Writing is just that. The first book, my first publications were in energy conservation and energy efficient site planning. That was the closest I came to architecture from my to landscape from my architecture background. But eventually I was fascinated by ecology, and I found this overlap between landscape and ecology. It took me a very long while to realize that landscape is in fact the visible expression of an ecosystem, because that's what you see. If you talk with a community about biodiversity, I mean, it's an abstract, okay, it's a lot of plants and maybe animals. But if you point to a landscape that is a habitat, it takes on a very different dimension. So ecology was my first fascination, and I could see what ecological landscapes were like mainly in vernacular settlements and landscapes. They were sustainable and they were in harmony with nature. How can you teach this in a design studio? That was the challenge that obsessed me almost, because I was teaching and I realized also that site analysis, the word analysis, this decomposing, doesn't work in landscape. So you need a very dynamic view to look at processes over evolutionary scales and over hierarchical scales, looking from the local to the regional, to the global, back to the local. And this could only be achieved with ecology. So that was the first book I published, Ecological Landscape Design and Planning. And this methodology sort of overcomes this rigid analysis, which is now used extensively by urban design students, architects, and landscape architects at the American University of Beirut. It's just a way to structure that is holistic, integrative, and dynamic.
You're right. It's really difficult to teach something that is so dynamic as landscape design.
Yes.
It is, you have to experience it, you have to understand it, and to design it. There's so many layers to it. You never stop learning, do you?
No.
It's a constant learning process.
No. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. And one learning thing, again, we go back to displacement and moving around the nomadic existence, is I understood very much when I moved from an arid ecosystem in Iraq to the Mediterranean.
Oh, gosh,
and the difference between these made me realize how local communities react to different ecologies. And that was the best learning I could get. Yes.
Yeah. So you said you started life as an architect.
Yes.
I come across quite a few architects who, when they talk to me about what I do, they suddenly say, actually, I think landscape architecture sounds really interesting.
Absolutely.
What made you what was it, the trigger to make you jump from architecture to landscape architecture?
I think I had landscape in me.
It was in your blood?
It was in my blood, because even in my architecture studies, my final year project was a zoo, a zoological and botanical garden. And people said, there's no architecture there. Okay, I said, I'll design the buildings for you, but it's not that matters. It's how you set up the whole concept. And so I think that is, going back to architecture and landscape architecture, I really think a sensitive designer is a designer that breaches boundaries, disciplinary boundaries.
I completely agree.
Honestly. Yeah. Somebody like Charles Correa, people that are sensitive to their environment, to the local culture, and they respond to this with their design, are landscape architects. I don't care what their title is.
Exactly. And you've got to appreciate everybody else's touch points, what their contributions can be.
Yeah.
In a design team. We've all got to work together,
Absolutely.
haven't we, to be able to produce something that's really worthy.
Yeah.
So,
yes, this is also another point. We've often, especially talking about adverse landscapes, stressful landscape, like in refugee camps, post-war. Landscape architects works also as a mediator.
Yes.
To mediate community with so-called experts, with funding agencies. So again, because we bridge the natural and the cultural, because it is such a fluid field, we work well as in facilitating interdisciplinary teams, because our field bridges so many disciplines.
You're absolutely right. And do you think, what do you think the contribution of landscape architecture as a profession could be going forward? Because we're now facing such important questions globally. We've got climate change, the impact on biodiversity. We have all the health and well-being issues that we're facing. Some communities are facing a certain amount of breakdown because of political disquiet, so on. How do you think landscape architects can play a role in that? I know it's a really big question, fundamental question. Do you think we have a part to play?
Yeah, we do, but I'll go back to basics. As landscape architects, we are responsive to the context. So all of those that you listed, all of the issues that you listed, have to do with the context. And it is both this context, understanding the contexts, being open to it, looking to it, how it evolved, looking at the people in this specific setting, looking at what they have done with the resources they have. All of this can inspire solutions, whether it's post-war recovery or whether it is biodiversity conservation. We've worked with a landscape approach to biodiversity conservation. Global warming, sustainable, I'd say sustainable development. That's also another very, very big problem, because development is so misunderstood by the global south, many countries in the global south. Basically, it is really bringing in big dams and infrastructure of canalizing rivers, and all of these, it's the wrong. Development should be human-led, community engaged, and all of these things. So but landscape can do that, where other maybe disciplines might or might not, I think. So it's really going back to the context. If you contextualize biodiversity, it means that you go back to the landscape and look at how it creates those habitats, not just the habitats, but how people manage biodiversity. In the Mediterranean, biodiversity is very much managed by communities. So that is, I think, the easiest answer I can give.
So, in essence, landscape architects have a significant role to play in the coming decades, don't they?
Absolutely. And also because there is no scale for landscape. Landscape is not scalar. We're not, and even if we're assigned a site, there is a larger context, either natural or urban or whatever. So what this means that we can move very easily from the local, as I said, to the city, to the hinterland, to the region, to the global, and back again. And this, a lot of the problems that we're facing, the world is facing today, need this connectivity, needs this movement, this dynamism across scales. Landscape does that. Landscape architect can't do that. Thank you. I am so honored and so happy to receive the IFLA Sir Geoffrey Jellicoe Award. It is, I think, the highest of honors. On a personal level, because I know very well those that have preceded me and taken this award, received it. So it is really an honor to be included with them. But also because we often don't think of recognition and gratitude, which makes it all the more precious when received. I am also happy beyond the personal, not just the personal level, but also because landscape is so little known in my part of the world. So this will showcase the profession. It will bring attention to landscape architecture, and in a region in the Middle East which is really at its lowest. So thank you very much. Thank you.